What do you think you'll do in 30 years?
30 years. That's a long time. If you asked me in 3 years, I'd still be wrong because I'm constantly wrong about what we're going to do next. I think I'm lucky enough that the focus of our stuff is products. And I have always been interested in the products, in the tech, in the products, in the cars, whatever they are. And so I suspect that in 30 years, I will still be interested in the products and will still be making this thing that's helpful to people who are interested in products. Whether it's a video or some other form of media, I don't know. But that's generally how I think about it. In 5 or 6 years, I think we'll still be making videos because people are still going to want to buy products. Yeah. Generally. But I think it's interesting with your product design business, which is Giertz, just so we have the pronunciation verbally.
Giertz.store.
Giertz.store. You have like a big variety of different things. Like we have the calendar and then we have the screwdriver ring. Like how do you think about what sort of things you actually make for the store?
You know, so we launched the store a year ago. We just had our first birthday.
Congrats.
And we celebrated by giving people 1% off.
Nice. Yeah. That's a D-brand thing.
Which is I love that it actually drove a spike in sales and people were actually using the 1% off discount code, which is funny because you can just get 10% off by giving us your email. Which also we have very good newsletters and we don't send them very often. Nice. So it's worth it. But yeah, I mean, we started a year ago and we started with a really small roster of products. The everyday calendar is, I think, the only one that I feel like really holds the ethos of what I want the brand to be. It's the only like real proper product. And the other ones I'm kind of thinking more of as like really ambitious basket fillers. So they're things that you add on, but you're not necessarily going to come there to the store for it. But I wanted to like not sit on the brand for too long because there's so many things I need to learn. A lot of it around marketing and just like what the work requires and the team and just like recruiting, what roles do we need to fill. So I kind of wanted to like, even though I felt like we only launched it with like 4 or 5 products, I'm like, I still want to get it out there and just try it out. But then we have some products coming out probably next year that I think are a lot more like under what I want the brand to be. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of been the initial product has just been like, what can we feasibly do with this small team that we have? I mean, we have 2 full-time employees on the product business. So it's like, okay, we can do this. We can do these rings. We have like a screwdriver ring and a screw ring. Unfortunate name. And like just some like fun, weird products. And then how can we use that to fund developing these other products that are a bit more ambitious and that I think actually solve problems?
So the calendar is like your sort of ethos product. Can you describe it? It's like I just got mine. So it's this
where is it? Where is it?
So it's not in here, but I want to find a place to hang it because it plugs into the wall too. And it lights up and it's this 365 button hexagon calendar. But how would you describe the calendar?
This is we launched this product, I think in 2018 on Kickstarter, and I still don't know how to explain it in audio only. Pitch? If you can help me brainstorm one. Yeah. But it's a calendar. So like imagine that you want to start a habit and you make a grid in your notebook so you can check little boxes for the days that you do it. You're like, I want to start meditating every day. I want to keep myself accountable. I'm just going to cross these little boxes to be like, yay, I did it. It's like a prettier version of that you can hang on your wall. So it's an electronic calendar that has 365 days. If you tap a day, you light it up. And you can use it. People use it to track their periods. They use it to track if they take medicine, how often they upload content.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've seen some people. I have a friend who's in a long distance relationship, and I'm like, they use it to count down the days until they get to see each other. I was just talking to one of your teammates. It was like, I'd want to use it to quit smoking. But yeah, so people are kind of using it in every possible way.
And it becomes this very visual thing.
Yeah.
I've talked about this on the podcast before. I am psycho that lives my life in a to-do list app and a calendar app and all these other planning things where I can habit track, blah, blah, blah. And I have like a drink water tracker, and it's a checkbox on my phone. And when I drink a water bottle, I check the box, and it doesn't go away until I've checked it 3 times during the day.
Wow.
And I don't really get much of a visual like reward for that other than just checking the box, which I don't know, I like checking boxes, but it's not nearly as much as like lighting it up and then it's there like as a physical representation of what you did. So I feel like that elevator pitch, I think the way you started it was perfect. Imagine you want to start a habit. Who doesn't want to start some habit? Like that's definitely the pitch for it. And then you go into it.
No, it's been interesting in like the marketing side of it, just like because I'm good at making content. I'm very bad at making ads. I feel like, and it's so much like you're selling the habit and the dream of what your life will look like when you have this habit. And then this product just happens to be the tool that can get you there.
Yeah.
And that's all like, it's just a different way of thinking. And it's very, like, if you look at our social media channels for the Etch Store, we only really have an Instagram feed. It's like, I think like we're really good at making content. We're making funny, weird content. Not necessarily good at selling stuff.
I think that still works though, as like it serves the same purpose, you know, as like getting the eyeballs for people who'd be interested in something like that. But how did you build your team? Like you said, you have 2 people full time
on the product business. Yeah.
And then you have, I imagine, some sort of help with making the videos. Maybe you don't. Sometimes I assume that, and people are doing it 100% themselves. How did you build that?
So, you know, I actually very deliberately have wanted to keep my team small because I want to, you know, when you start your career on YouTube, like there's so many ways of defining success. And a lot of it is just like numbers and scale or how much your growth is. And I really early on told myself that like, I don't want those things to matter as much. Like the 2 key metrics of success is how much autonomy do I have and how I spend my time. Like that's something that's incredibly important to me. And that's luxury to me is like being able to wake up in the morning and being like, I don't want to do work, or like, I want to go to New York for 2 weeks, or I want to do this. And a part of that is not hiring a huge team that requires me to be there for them to have work to do. So I've intentionally kept the team really small. I actually just hired a shooter editor for the first time.
Okay.
And then he quit. So now on the video side, it's like my executive assistant who also does some stuff on the product business is like helping me film things. Okay. She sometimes does like a rough cut of it. Yeah. Or like she'll do like an assembly and like take out all the bad takes. Yeah. And then I'll do the editing, which is not a good use of my time. So if you're a shooter editor or just an editor in LA, please send me an email at apply@SimoneYachtz.com, spelled Giertz.
That was my next question, is how do you find these people?
Yeah.
Because I assume someone who's both an executive assistant and an editor and shooter is a very rare person. It's like, how do you have a go-to? Every creator I've asked has a different answer. Do you have a go-to for finding somebody, or does it just like...
I've tweeted a lot of job ads. Yeah. And I think that I found her through tweeting. And then like people I've kind of worked on a project with and I pulled in. One was a fan who like... he's my engineer who lives in the UK, and he was just like very active in the community and kind of just, I don't know, I just started pulling him in on projects because he had a really good brain. And then I was like, do you want a job? And he was like, yeah.
Nice.
So it's kind of all across the board, but I feel like especially with the product business, it's like I need to find a better way of recruiting and how to do it, and not just Twitter.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I don't have a good answer yet. That's why I ask everybody.
And it's also, I'm like, I need to be better about like also proactively, like I'm feeling a tremendous amount of responsibility of making sure that I have a diverse team. And that's like a whole other level of complication when you're running a small business. Yeah. And you're like, I need to be better in this, because you imagine, I don't know if you had this, but you kind of imagine like if I got to run a business, or if I somehow got unimaginably rich, which I'm not, like that I would do it more responsibly than other people that I see who are in those positions. And I'm like, I need to walk that talk and actually try to be as decent of a human as I can be. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like also building Like when you're building a YouTube channel, there's so many different, whether it's the channel or the business or whatever, there's so many parameters to optimize for. So it's interesting to have like goals that are not specifically quantifiable, I guess. Like it would be harder to define success if you don't have some number that you can say, okay, it's over or under this number. So now I have autonomy of my time or I don't. Like it's a little more squishy.
Nebulous,
maybe it's a moving target too.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel more satisfied or less depending on how much of that time you get back in different times of the year, things like that. It's a little more nebulous.
What's your definition of success?
I've stuck it to I want to make things that I would want to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that is not as quantifiable as some of the other goals that sort of surround that, which is like, oh, are we making, a variety of things? Are we making enough things? I'm trying to make a channel that I would want to subscribe to by making videos that I would want to watch. So it like kind of feeds into itself like that. But even just doing that, like you make videos that you'd want to watch and then you notice, oh, now my audience is like 96% male or something, just because like I make videos that I'd want to watch. Now, how do I like expand to more people and a more variety of like countries and things like that? I don't know if that's even a useful thing to do, but we try.
Yeah.
So they all kind of feed back to making something quality that I'd want to watch.
I think for me, yeah, it's like pride in the projects that I put out, like in the content I put out is really important. And like, did the people who actually watched it, like ignoring thumbnails and what your click-through rate is and everything, but did the people who watch it like it? Mm-hmm. I think is something I care a lot about as well. But I mean, my audience is 80% male and I don't know what to do about it.
I feel like it's almost not really up to us, but also just depends on who watches YouTube. And a lot of like project videos, like it depends on the genre that you're in too. Like I'm making reviews of tech products and gadgets. Like I can't control who's into that, but I try to make it as accessible as possible. And whoever watches. Yeah. I was going to say, you kind of remind me of Doug DeMuro the Doug DeMuro.
Who?
You haven't seen Doug DeMuro?
Who?
Oh my God. Okay. Well, let me give the elevator pitch for Doug. Doug is a car reviewer, and he started off just making like simple car videos. He'd review a car, a Honda. He'd review a random car you might want to buy, and he'd use his phone and set it up on a tripod and do the whole thing himself and edit the video. And he started like getting a lot more views, and so he got to do videos with more and more interesting cars until he was reviewing like supercars in the same style. Like he'd show up in a Polo and a smartphone on a tripod to review a Bugatti. Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
And he has the same like anchor point, which is we can't hinge this all on YouTube. It's just a platform that we all happen to be making videos on, but we want to turn it into something that we kind of own more or get to do ourselves. And he started Cars and Bids, which is a car auction website.
Oh, wow.
And it turned out to be super huge. His audience loved it. People use it. It's now competing among the best, biggest car auction websites. And like, that's the thing that he built.
So you're telling me that when I sell Truckla, I should sell it on that one?
If you do sell Truckla, carsandbids.com, I'm sure Doug would be the first one. And the thing is, he would review Truckla because he would have a hand in there, which would be amazing. I would watch that video.
Yeah.
But having some sort of a pivot from making just like your focus being videos and the content and the projects like that, and like hinging it into something else is the similarity that I see.
Because it's also such a brittle business because it hinges completely on two factors. One is the platform you're on and the other one is your face. So if something changes with the platform or with like regulatory things on how you're allowed to advertise or sponsorships or whatever, which you have no control over, like everything falls. Or if something happens to you, like if you're not well enough to be on a stage or in front of a camera, everything falls. So for me, it's also like the product business is really important because I don't want it to all be on my face needing to be there. I want there to be work that can happen even if I'm not actively there and that other people can do and that's scalable in a different way. Because I mean, I had a health scare and that was kind of the big push that made me like, no, okay, I need to like diversify what my businesses are, because also I can't have a team and like have to lay people off if I'm suddenly depressed. You know?
Yeah. There's definitely a pressure that comes from trying to find the thing to hinge to if you don't have like an idea right off the bat. Like we're trying to do some products. Like I'm not as
shoes.
We got shoes now. Like we're trying to figure out things that can live without me. That's like the general theme. Is there a way to decide what those products are? There's no blueprint, like we've said. So it's like I find products that I'm interested in and genres that I'm into and try to build there. But I mean, Doug was into cars, so that made perfect sense. And you're into these like projects like the screwdriver ring. I've never seen anything like it, but it just looks cool. And I feel like it's, I kind of want one of those. It's like pretty sweet. So like I need like a method of like deciding what sort of projects for a given creator would make the most sense to pivot to, because that doesn't really exist.
It is, yeah. It's an interesting like business exercise of like, how do you diversify? How do you expand from this? And how do you like kind of build out your universe? Yeah. I could imagine, I mean, I feel like product development is such a like, you got to be all the way in to do it because it's painful. Yeah. Like there's nothing to do like half-assed. But also you're well set up enough where you could, even if you're not like 100% in it and wanting to pull all-nighters for it, like you could still do it.
Yeah. But it just takes a while. Like with the shoes, it took like, it was a 2-year process just for one pair of shoes. And it was like many design meetings.
Yeah, and you're working with an existing shoe company that has the entire infrastructure for it. Yes. Yeah.
So even that is like kind of a head start. Yeah. Like trying to build something from scratch is an undertaking for sure. So maybe that's a whole business of like helping YouTubers find the thing that will help them graduate from YouTube.
I mean, you have a 7-7 or a Titans fund as well, right?
We do.
So I feel like that is like, if you don't want to develop products yourself, then it's like helping other people vet and develop products.
Yeah, but even that is kind of hinged on YouTube, which is like the value of that comes from me being able to connect my audience to a product for a company. Yeah. And have the eyeballs and like connect everything.
Yeah, but then it's like you're using your YouTube channel as a tool to do other things. Like the making of the video isn't the core of it. So it's like, how can you leverage that into... Yeah. So I'm thinking like something, I'm thinking a equivalent of like Marques Shark Tank. Or like, does it have to be other people's products or like your own products?
Not necessarily. Yeah. It could be my own products. It could be, I'm sure there's going to be some that go down the path of connecting with other companies and helping other products grow. And then there are going to be some that are like, here is this new thing that I made. Yeah. Which is like, it requires a different type of brain and you can come up with new ideas and products, things like that. Yeah.
I feel like some people like start schools as well, like teaching people doing what they do or like different programs and that. And it's a lot of different paths to go down.
Zach, Jerry Rig Everything. He has the Not a Wheelchair Project.
Oh, right.
So that's like again, it's very connected to him. It makes perfect sense. So like there's I don't know. There's no way for me to go, oh, here's what would make sense for this creator. But every time I see one that makes sense, I'm like, yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's really good.
Some people start events. Yeah. And have like big events. Yep. I mean, like VidCon being one of them from the Green Brothers. Yeah.
We've seen Creator Clash. Oh, you're gonna box anybody? No, that's probably something I'm not doing either.
You could not pay me enough. Also, I'm not allowed to anymore because I've had brain surgery.
That's fair.
But I'm very happy to have that as an excuse because there's no fucking way I do it anyway. Granted, I used to be so into martial arts. Like I Thai boxed for years.
So you might have boxed somebody before. Maybe.
I've boxed a lot. Yeah. Yeah. No. See? And I was an MMA reporter. Like I was deep People in don't know that.
This? I did not know this.
Yeah. I think it's on my Wikipedia page. Oh, that's fair. No, I was deep into like martial arts world. So I'm just saying I'm not going to do it, but I can then brazenly say that I think I'd do pretty well.
You could commentate for sure. I got to a yellow belt in Taekwondo. I was pretty proud of that. It's not very far.
Taekwondo is not going to get you very far though against like a grappler. Given creator classes only stand up fighting.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I'd overcome with my reach or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot I could do.
You do have very long limbs.
Yeah, I could use that for something. Hey, thanks for watching this clip. I'm just going to have to ask you real quick before you head out to build a robot that hits the like and subscribe buttons one after the other. That's the only instructions you're going to get. The only materials you get to use are what's in front of you right now. Good luck.
Are you asking Simone to do that?
I'm asking whoever's watching to do exactly that and try to get to Simone's level. It's
what
probably
if
not going to be
Simone built a robot that thought of robot ideas, and then she would never run out of YouTube videos? She just doesn't understand scale.
I don't think that you can. I don't think robots can think. You know.
Well, we know they're coming for David first.
Well, artificial
thinking.